Hi guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to sew this beautiful corset. In my previous video, I showed you how to draft out your pattern. So this is going to be the sewing part. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll be putting the link in the description box. So go ahead and check it out. And here I'm just going ahead to cut out my pattern, both for the front and the back. And I've already added my sewing allowance. So the only allowance I'm going to be adding is just the joining allowance. And once I was done with that, this is what I have. And so we are going to be starting with the front piece. But just before we remove our pattern, the first thing you should go ahead to do is to mark where you have your bust point, your under bust, and also where you have your dart lines or where your dart stops. And it's going to make it easier for you by the time you're joining your working piece together. So I'll go ahead and open up my center front, and as you can see, I've already ironed my hairstay to it. So go ahead and make use of any hairstay that you have. So I'll go ahead and start pinning down all my front working piece before going ahead to take it to my sewing machine. And also make sure you are using the exact joining allowance you added to your fabric. Now let's assume you added half an inch joining allowance. That means you're going to be using that same half an inch joining allowance. So once I'm done pinning them together, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine to stitch it down. So just like I did for the front piece, I'm also going ahead to do the same thing for the back piece. So take your time to pin down all your pieces together, making sure that you are matching the right pieces together, because this part can somehow be confusing if you are not careful. So take your time to pin it down in the right order. And once I'm done with that, I'll also repeat the same process for the lining, both for the front and the back piece. And once I was done pinning it down, this is what I have. And this is also my lining for the front piece. And this is my lining for the back piece. So I'll go ahead and take it to my sewing machine to stitch it down. And once you're done joining them together, this is what your working piece should look like. So go ahead and use your pressing iron to iron all your seams open. And also don't forget to iron around your bust area using your hand. And once I was done with that, this is what my working piece is looking like. And just as you can see, it's already coming together nicely. And this is my back piece. I've also gone ahead to iron all my seams open. And for the lining, I've also done the same thing. I've joined them together, and I've also gone ahead to iron all the seams flat. So I'll go ahead and set this aside and work on the front piece. So the next thing I'm going to do is to draw out the lines where I'm going to be adding my boning channels. So I'll fold it into two, and I will notch the center just to get the center point of my working piece. So I'm going to draw a visible line across the center point, then another one across the bustier area. I'm going to create as many channels as I can, and you can also make it slanted or straight. Just give it any kind of structure you want. And once I was done with that, I also repeated the same thing on the other side. So I used my tape measure to measure the distance I have in between, and repeated the same thing here. And once I was done with that, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine to stitch down the boning channels. So what I did was to cut out a strap measuring 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to place it on the lines I've already drawn out, just like this. And then I'm going to stitch it down at the middle, leaving out about half an inch channel for my boning. So depending on the size of boning you're using, make sure you create a channel that your boning can pass through. So after stitching it down, I'm going to trim out the excess allowance. And once that is done, I'm going to tape down my boning just like this, so that it doesn't poke through my fabric. And then I'm going to start inserting it through the channels. Now when doing this, make sure your boning stops at least half an inch before the neckline and half an inch before the hemline, so that you can comfortably turn your neckline and also turn the lower part of your blouse. So once that is done, I'm going to flip it towards this side where I have my allowance. Then go ahead to make a top stitch from the top to the bottom. And once that is done, I'll be repeating the same process for all the boning channels. So once I was done doing that, this is what my front piece is looking like. And I've also gone ahead to iron everything flat. And this is the wrong side. You can see how neat it is. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my bra cup. I've already gone ahead to add a boning to my bra cup. If you don't know how to add a boning, there's already a video of that on the YouTube channel. You can go ahead and check it out. So I'm going to first of all stitch it together using my hand needle. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to place it directly on the under bust, and that is why it's important you notch your bust point, your under bust before going ahead to join your fabrics together. And once I'm done stitching it down on the under bust, I'm also going to stitch it by the size. So make sure you stitch it down in a way that your thread is not going to come out on the right side of your fabric, and that is why you should be making use of your joining allowance. So once I was done tacking it down, this is what my working piece is looking like. You can see how stable it is, and this is the front side. You can see how neat it is. So this is my yoke, and this is my front yoke. I've gone ahead to cut out 4 pieces. I'll be using 2 for the lining and 2 for the main piece. So I'll place it right sides together just like this, and then go ahead to pin it down. And for my back piece, I only cut out 2 pieces because I'm working with just half a yard. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a bias tape to turn the neckline to this point and all the way down. But before I do that, I'm going to be adding my loop for my buttons. So I'm just going ahead to pin down my loops, and after that I will take it to the sewing machine. So for my front yoke, I'm going to stitch from this point to this point, and also from this point to this point, and after that I will flip it to the right side. And once I was done with that, this is what I have. This is my back, and then this is my front. So the next thing I'm going ahead to do is to attach it to my main bodies. So I'll go ahead and pin it down on my dart line, which is where my yoke is supposed to sit. So ensure you know the right place to place your yoke, then go ahead and pin it down. And once that is done, you can make a basing stitch just to keep it in place. So this is my back piece. I've also gone ahead to add my boning. So the next thing I'm going to do is to attach my yoke. So I'm going to mark the point where my yoke is going to be sitting, which is 1 inch away from this dart line. And if at any point you are confused on where your yoke should be sitting, go ahead and look at how your pattern is. So once that is done, I'm going to pin it down. Make sure you're placing it right side to right side, and after that I'll go ahead and make a simple basic stitch just to keep it down. And now that we have done that, next thing we are going to do is to join the front piece and the back piece together. So I'm going to place them right side to right side and go ahead to join them with my joining allowance. And I will also be doing the same thing for the lining piece. So at this point, go ahead and take your measurement just to be sure that all your measurements and joinings are correct. And if that is done, go ahead and trim out any excess allowance you might have. So this is my lining. I've also joined them together. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to join the lining with the main bodies. So I'll go ahead and start pinning from the center point all the way down to the side seam, and do the same thing for the other side. And once I'm done with that, I'll also take it to the sewing machine to stitch it down. And now that I'm done pinning it down, I'll go ahead and make my stitch using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So now that I'm done doing that, I'll go ahead and flip it to the right side. But before you do that, make sure you trim out all your sewing allowance around the neckline and the side seam, so that by the time you flip it right side out, the neckline will be properly relaxed. And when I've done that, I'll go ahead and use my pressing iron to iron everything flat. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join them together at the shoulder line. And the way I'm going to be doing that is that I'm going to be placing the front shoulder joining together with the back shoulder joining, with the right side facing each other, before pinning it together with the lining. But if you don't understand what I'm saying, just watch what I'm doing. This is just like sandwiching the back shoulder joining in between the front shoulder joining and the lining. Just make sure you properly align them together before going ahead to pin it down. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to repeat the same thing for the second side, and then take it to the sewing machine to stitch it down. So now that I've done that, I'll go ahead to stitch it down. And another stitch I'm going to be making is I'm going to stitch from this point to this point, leaving out about 1/2 inch for my boning casing. And I will be doing this on both sides. And once I was done doing that, this is what I have. Can you see how neat my shoulder joining is? Both the front and the back. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going ahead to do is to insert my boning. And just like I said before, make sure that your boning stops at least 1/2 inch before your neckline and also 1/2 inch before your hemline. So the next thing I'm going ahead to do is to hem the lower part of my blouse, and I'm going to be using this piece of fabric that I've cut out, and it measures around 2 inches. So I'm going to first of all pin it down, and once I'm done with that, I will take it to the sewing machine and stitch it down using 1/2 inch. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to flip it to the other side, then fold in a 1/4 inch and make a top stitch. And so for my sleeve, I'm going to join it together with my joining allowance. I'll also be hemming the lower parts, and once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead to attach my sleeve. And once I was done with that, this is what I have. Can you see how beautiful it is? And this is the wrong side. Can you see how neat both the inside and outside is? And so the final thing I'm going to do is just to add my eyelet. And that is it, guys. If you know you find this video useful, please give me a thumbs up because it helps my channel a lot. And don't forget to subscribe, put on your post notification bell so that whenever there is a new video up on the channel, you will be notified. So until I see you in my next video, stay blessed.